I'm going to USC next year and I'm majoring in environmental studies. I've been playing soccer since I was 5 or 6, so I got to work with a lot of different charities. Um, I was also in ASB for 2 years of my high school career, which was a really, really fun thing because I found my passion for poster making. Big poster girl. But outside of like academic and like community service kind of stuff, I love just spending time at the beach, spending time in nature. I love to hike. I love to go on runs. I love to just sit down with a nice book somewhere, like at a park or something, and just kind of take it all in. And that kind of like jump started my love for nature and just how I wanted to study the natural world, I guess. So
You always came to my mind as my rock girl because you had this fascination for different rocks and so forth. And I know that we talked about that a little bit when we were brainstorming ideas, but can you just share, like, how did you even develop your interest for the major that you are going to go into? And like, give us a sense of like, how did you actually get there?
I applied to all my schools. It was either environmental studies or science or geology. Geology came later. I knew I wanted to be an environmental science major when I took my first AP environmental science class last year. My teacher was phenomenal, and everything, all the knowledge kind of came easily to me, and I enjoyed learning. It was kind of the first class where I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually like sit down and study because I like the content. Which that's never really happened to me before. Like I was decent at English and math, whatever, but that was the first class where I was like, I can really see myself applying this to my job or whatever I choose to do past college. So that was kind of a big indicator that I wanted to study environmental studies. You mentioned my rock collection. I've been camping with my family since as long as I can remember, and we've gone up to the Sierra Nevadas almost every year since I was like 8 or 9. I just remember like picking up this chunk of obsidian and going, is this like, where did this come from? And my dad's like, that's obsidian. This is a volcano. I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. So I just started collecting all these rocks and like trying to place where they were from and what type of rock they were, and like just a bunch of different, I guess, facts about them. The rocks, like they told like stories about like where they had been, what the earth had been like when they were created, like what was this like, what was the earth like before humans even got here, and like the rocks tell a big part of the story. And I just love the thought of like, oh my God, I have like these little pieces of history just sitting in my closet. Like it's kind of crazy. So my family and I, we were walking on the beach. It was like a Sunday afternoon or something. And I remember picking up like a shell or something. It was a shell or like a piece of sea glass, or it was something like beachy. And I was like, Dad, look at this. This is so cool. And he goes, that is cool, Kaylin. But make sure you leave it here when we leave because the Mobleys leave the beaches better than we found them. And my dad said a lot of really like just very like a lot of things that he's instilled in me as the years have gone by. But that is the one thing that I've really, I guess, kept with me. Just to leave things better than I found them. That doesn't just apply to nature or hiking, or obviously that's a huge hiking theme. But like classrooms, leaving, if I walk in a bad mood, I'm gonna walk out in a good mood. I make sure of that. That's for school or anywhere in general. If someone's having a bad day, I help them have a better day. Um, just just cleaning up as I go, or like just making things just a little bit nicer and a little bit cleaner and a little bit better than I found them. So
So you have, let's say, another student that is kind of coming up similar path or completely opposite, going through high school, have their eyes on the prize, which is maybe a school like a USC. Could you maybe break down something for a student that you would say, hey, if I could do it all over again, maybe consider this, or just a piece of advice that you might be able to give a student that is going to walk in your shoes one day?
yeah, I was stressing out about not having anywhere to go, and not like being happy with the school I chose and not being happy with the schools I got into. That was a big one. Not being happy with the I guess rigor of schools and the just the amount of schools I got into. That was something when I was applying I was really, really worried about. I was worried that people were going to get into better schools than I was. Um, but if I could tell that student something, I would say that you're going to end up where you need to end up. And it doesn't matter if people get into better schools than you because you're going to get no school that is the perfect fit for you. Worst case scenario, if you want to go to a good school, transfer from community college. You'll save money. You'll save a lot of stress for the application process for at least 2 more years. But again, you're going to end up where you need to end up.
You had a great opportunity, not too many students would get. Very prestigious university recruiting you, able to play your sport that you love. But ultimately, you decided to be a student and go somewhere else. So maybe talk to me about that. How did you make that decision?
Yeah, so in a way, that decision was actually made for me. I toured the school I was getting recruited to was Oberlin. I toured, I loved it. I got in, like I actually got admitted to the school 2 days after I toured it. Fell in love with the school. I loved the team, loved the coaches. And then I went to a soccer tournament 2 days after my recruitment trip, and I ended up getting a concussion. That was my second concussion from soccer in 2 months. So the doctor basically told me no more soccer for at least 5 or 6 years. Let your brain heal, let your brain rest. A day later, after my doctor's appointment where I got told that I got into USC, which was I think it was the universe just saying like, hey, maybe that wasn't the right fit for you. Thinking about it now, I probably would have been better in state anyway. Yeah. I needed help with college essays, what to write about, deadlines, due dates, because if I didn't have you guys to keep me on schedule, I would not have gotten everything done in time. And I wouldn't have applied to the amount of schools that I had originally applied to with the very strong essays that I had. So we originally reached out for the essay help, and it was phenomenal. Like that was the best part for me out of the experience was the editing help and the schedule help. So that was fantastic. Because again, like I said earlier, I probably would have procrastinated the whole thing had I not had you guys and just been absolutely done. So yeah. You're putting your entire life and heart and soul and desires and like gifts all into one 500-word essay. And is it 650? I don't remember. Into one like tiny, it seems like a lot of words, and then you're writing it, it's like, oh my God, I have 2 words left and I'm not even done with what I want to say. So having someone to look over that and make sure you're being succinct while still like just having your full self being expressed through the essay is a huge help. And also, if you're someone who has trouble with deadlines and everything and procrastination, having someone to kind of be behind you, being like, okay, this is when this is due, make sure you're getting this done. That's very beyond helpful, especially with the stress of fall semester of your senior year. So